SEMO opened Big South OVC play with a 45-7 win over Lindenwood. Now 1-0, top of the standings heading to this week. They're going to go non-conference. They'll be at home. SIU now 15-18 in the two polls. It's the first time that the teams have both been ranked in the same game that high in the polls, and only the second time ever. So war for the wheel, Coach. Just thoughts on your team, and then we'll go into anybody that's got questions.
Yeah, it was a really good win, for lots of reasons. We certainly respect Lindenwood, and, it was just one of those nights that just feel like everything kind of went our way. And I know they're going to bounce back and get after the conference and all that, but super, happy with the results. I think to just sum it up, I think you start with the bad. The bad were the injuries things. Football's not fair, but life isn't either. And so this week we have a chance to be out 7 starters, and that's just, not what you want, but there's nothing you can do about it. You got to move on. The two most concerning things was penalties. We had 2 touchdowns called back. We had a big play called back. We didn't seem to learn our lessons from week 1 to week 2. And then special teams, we dominated on offense and defense, but our kicking game was average, and so they should have been at the same level with our offense and defense. We got to get that corrected. The main takeaways was I loved how we played, the standard of how physical we were, and the effort piece. We were +3 in the turnover margin, and we were able to run the ball and minimize their run. I think that's anytime you do those things, I'm sure you're going to like those results. So I'm going to go ahead and open up for questions.
All right, we got a couple. We'll go Dan, then Tom, and then Jake. So Dan, go ahead first.
Morning, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my first question is, looking at the tape of SIU, what really jumps out at you about their defense this year?
Well, it's kind of the storyline. Their offensive veteran unit, you assume that they were going to be good. The defense had question marks, and statistically, they're, playing well. So 2 things, I think, just the athleticism of their defense and the disruption. So they're number 5 in the country in sacks, number 1 in or TFLs or something. Like, they're getting a lot of negative yardage plays. And so it's getting people behind the chains, and they're able to take them over. So it's a great recipe. If that's how it'll be this Saturday, then they'll probably win.
Is this one of the faster SIU teams you've seen on defense?
It feels like it. Certainly when you're watching film, you hate to just say statements until you actually play them. But they were faster and more explosive than the 2 offenses they played.
I got one more for you. I'll get out of the way for the other guys. But how do you prepare for a team, looking at their offense? They've got so many guys they can distribute the ball to.
I think it goes back to the overall philosophy of this game is, we got to try to make it a lot more about SEMO than SIU. The best chance for us to play well is to prepare well, and the focus still has to be on SEMO. It can't be on SIU. And so, that's our challenge. There's a lot of hype with this game, and it's easily to get, you're easily distracted by lots of things, and we got to make sure that doesn't happen.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go Tom next, then Jake.
Thanks, Coach. Do you care to elaborate on who the 7 starters are that will be out this weekend?
Not really.
Okay. All right. No, that's good. You're good.
I think there's a chance that we can only have 5. So there's 2 up in the air, but right now 7 are questionable.
Okay. Christian Furman, I believe, led you in tackles the other day. He obviously plays in Bryce's shadow a lot of the time when Bryce is out there. What makes Christian productive? Why was he able to step up and play such a positive role and a much more significant role than usual?
He's just very coachable. He's got a great motor. He cares. He makes others around him better. And really he had a good season last year. But like you said, he doesn't get a lot of that notoriety, but he's played well for a while now and certainly had a good game. Malai Walton was a guy that came in for Norman and had an unbelievable pick and several nice plays. And so that's kind of a story. It's next man up. We're not going to complain about our situations. We're going to develop the guys that'll be in there.
Your kickoff, you were alternating, if I'm correct in that, you were alternating kickoff guys. What was the thought process on that?
I just don't think there's a clear-cut winner. We have talent. Both kids are talented, but they're not executing at a high enough level. Their leg says they could get it to the goal line every time, but we are inconsistent where we're striking the ball. And so sometimes, it's pretty sporadic. And so I'm going to let that competition play out until someone proves to, execute at a high enough level to earn the full-time job.
Okay, well, normally I'm obsessed with quarterback play, but I'm obsessed with the kicking game now. Your punter, obviously, first time ever been in a college game and replaced Adam. And your thoughts after watching how he did in his first collegiate competition?
It's just good to get through it. I think it's extremely tough that a freshman's in that situation. Yeah. A guy breaks his leg on Thursday. Now I'm up on Saturday. And so for the situation, I thought he did a good job. For being a punter on a top 25 team, we're in trouble. So hopefully, I know it's important to him. I know that Coach McDowell has kind of made it his mission to coach him. He used to be a punter. And so we're trying to give him skills and all those things. We're working really hard. But I do believe he has the talent to get there if he has the discipline and the focus to hone his craft really before his time. We didn't re-sign him for 2 years. And so it is what it is. And we'll see if we can get his development, expedited.
Okay. Did you enjoy playing on a Saturday night? Most of your games are Saturday afternoons, but was there something fun for the players, for you, to be a Saturday night, like a big night event in Cape Girardeau the other night?
Yeah, I think we need to be a Saturday night football program when at all possible, because there's, at the end of the day, it's about creating a fan experience, a true game day. And there's just not as many distractions at 6 p.m. as there would be at 1 p.m. with families and sporting events and all those type of things. And so I was a fan from the attendance and the energy and all those stuff, but I'm doing official visits that night. Got home around midnight, and I was doing meetings with recruits at 7:30 in the morning, rolled right into SIU. So the problem with night games, it's a never ending week. You don't have any time to not think about football for a little bit. So as a coach, I wouldn't choose it, but it's not about me or the coaches. It's about the program, and it is by far what we should be doing. We just got to manage the other stuff and make sure we don't get wore out by the end here.
All right. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Yeah. We'll go to Jake, and we got about 3 minutes or so, Jake, if that'll work for you.
Morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm great.
I know we spoke on Saturday a little bit, the rivalry itself, so I wanted to dig a little bit more into it. Obviously, these players, both programs recruit a lot of these guys. You recruit the same players, they will recruit the same guys you will. How much of an impact does that make, you think, for this rivalry, considering you guys are both going after the same players?
I think it plays into that. Necessarily if you win by 1 point or lose by 1 point, if a kid is making a decision based on that, then, that's probably not the type of kid neither one of us want. But it matters. It matters in recruiting for sure. And so it's on the list of what makes this game great and important.
The wheel itself, I know you guys keep it and stuff. How often is that looked at, and how often has that been spoken about so far this week?
Well, it's in our locker room, and so they see it every day, year round. And then there's a message there when it's not there that they see every day, and so it is, talked about. The problem is you don't keep the wheel by talking about the wheel. Talk is cheap. You keep the wheel by working. And so we can't confuse work with activity. Like at the end of the day, it's about practice, it's about preparation and all those things. And so we can't just get hijacked by, all the cool things about this rivalry. Also, we got to be about that work.
Do you feel a different vibe of practice this week compared to weeks in the past because it's SIU week?
I think our players want to win this game. They want to play well. They're excited for this game for sure. I think they were last week too. And so I think it's still there. I don't think there's going to be a let up because we played well. We were at home. We all those type of things. So I don't see that happening. I think these players will respond in the way they want to, in a way to, try to keep that thing.
You said last week that you guys can't have a great season if you don't beat your rivals. You did that against Lindenwood. Is the same principle apply this time around?
Well, I think the point is, good to great is a question that all of us will ask ourselves. And that answer's got to be from you. What do you think this season was great? And the problem with this is you don't answer that question until the end. It comes to play, absolutely. But at the end of the day, you lose to SIU, it's still about the playoffs. If you beat SIU, it's still about the playoffs. Like at the end of the day, we need to be winning at the end of the year in the, playoffs and those type of things. And so if we lost, I'm not going to tell myself we didn't accomplish the mission, but I think that would start to, we got to try not to, because at the end of the day, that would lead, a couple more losses into not being able to accomplish the goal. But the win itself, I don't think is that.
First time in the 90-year history. I was going to say first time in the 90-year history of this rivalry, both teams are top 20 ranked. I mean, do you feel like that's maybe some more fuel to the fire that now it's a big time showdown?
That's what I hope someday our region would have. I mean, a big game in our region. Both communities, both programs. Like, this is not only everybody's going to be there for the game, but national people will be tuning in to see how this game turns out. And that's what I'm sure Nick wants and certainly what we want.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Coach, appreciate your time. Best of luck against the Salukis, and we'll talk to you again here next Tuesday.
Sounds good.